Cool Figure TV. Revolutionary salute. Revolutionary salute. Like, share, subscribe. Welcome to the House of Revolution. You know I'm your humble host, the Yao Mean of Revolution, and the social media race soldiers, the keyboard warriors, are pretending like they somebody they not. Let's identify them. Let's get into the content. Before we get into the content, be sure to wipe your feet. That means hit the like button. Like, share, subscribe, support the platform, y'all. Let's identify these cowards pretending like they want to harm our young brother Karmelo and his family.
Assalamu alaikum. Thanks to all my subs and supporters who watch, like, share, and comment on the videos. It's greatly appreciated. Anybody who would like to support the channel, the link to my book, The N-Word is No Secret in the Service, is in the description of every video. We also have the Runaway Slave store, link in the description. Go grab yourself a souvenir or something like that. Let's cook. Okay, people, so we have this white American devil right here by the name of Rob Kosar.
Rob Kosar. This Rob Kosar. Put himself out there, revolutionary salute soldier, put his face out there. We're going to get into what he said, but this is what he looked like. This is who he is. You know, this disgusting bastard pretend like he wants some harm to come to this young brother. He wanted attention. He's getting it. You know, he's on Core Figure TV this morning for threatening young Karmelo Anthony.
He wants to get a GoFundMe going to have Karmelo Anthony pushed. He said he want him up out of here, okay? And he has the support of people as well, okay? Check it out. You can go ahead and read it. This guy right here, Rob Kosar. These are the things that these people like him are putting online. They really exist, okay? They really exist. So people, this Karmelo Anthony situation is basically showing things that many of us already understand about America. Americans are the most hateful, evil people on the planet, worse than Hitler. And the country is grounded and built off of white supremacy and racism. Bottom line.
George Washington is my Hitler. George Washington is my Hitler. See, now's the time I have to remind this bigoted, wicked nation. This is why I draw like George Washington is my Hitler. Don't tell me about it. Nobody tell me nothing about no Hitler. George Washington owned people. He owned people. How many people did Hitler own? Hitler killed a lot of people. George Washington murdered people too with his own goddamn hands if they didn't do what he said. Was a sexual offender. He slept with underage kids, pedophile, pervert, raper. George Washington is my fucking Hitler.
There are just many superficial things and events and illusions of togetherness that keep people tolerant. Okay, these superficial things are usually to the primary benefit of white people, which are sports and rap music, entertainment, you know, hind part shaking and all this other buffoonery, the manufacturing of coons. All these things are drill music. All these things are to the favor of white people, regardless of who's doing it.
Look at this guy right here. He thinks everything is a game, this guy. He think everything is a joke. He's threatening Karmelo and seeing who he can crank. I tell y'all this, they want to crank up a lone wolf to go harm our people. He don't really give a damn if it's Karmelo or any black person get drugged, get shot, get harmed, you know. But he don't understand about karmatic divine actions. What he putting out got to come back to him.
You know what I'm saying? And also just black people working hard and giving their money back, you know, to white corporations and white people and being proud of it, you know, acting like Negro peons. This is what goes on, you know. Everything is divided. The country is built off of racism, Satanism, white supremacy, and it's always been like this. And the only time these situations come out when people talk this, you know, race divide stuff is when these beneficiaries of white supremacy feel like,
look, Rob Kosar. What? He wanted him? He kosher. He's very kosher. You understand what I'm saying? Trying to start a race war, hide behind the name Rob. Boy, what's your name? Rubenstein Kosher. Rubenstein Kosher said that revolution is for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Salute, family. See, I'm gonna start a GoFundMe page. This is what he put online, social media, for a hit to get the head of Karmelo Anthony. It's an eye for an eye up in here. Murder deserve not to be breathing and being released to go to a new $400,000 home. What that trash needs to be, locked up with real killers. Instead, he's going home with his mommy and a new home. I truly wish only for the worst for him. This is this clown right here. He want to start a GoFundMe to put a hit on our young brother. You know, Rob. Huh? We need to get a good look at Rob. Let's get a good look at Rob again. Rob is want to murder and lynch and want hitmen to kill black people who defend themselves. That's what Rob wants. You know, doing others as they doing to you, Rob. That's how we feel. Oh, that's what you want? Okay.
And the only time these situations come out when people talk this, you know, race divide stuff is when these beneficiaries of white supremacy feel like they aren't getting their way. They go nuts. These spoiled, fat, ugly, pale crybabies, they get online, they start typing, they start saying things, but they're really expressing how they always felt, regardless of how happy they may appear, you know, at a football game or holding hands and praying with some Negroes, whatever. This is how the majority of Americans feel. Anybody who said that this Karmelo Anthony situation is causing division, not further division, because I know some people understand it's causing further division. Look, man, the division is already there. And I question a lot of these people who keep saying that. I also question any of you coons who keep saying what somebody should have did and speaking in favor of these white supremacists with no details at all. I think that a lot of you Negroes, you black people, you coons, are some of the worst people on the planet. Actually, you are more disgusting than a Klansman. You're more disgusting than a white supremacist, in my opinion. I don't know how true this is or how authentic it is, but I've heard this before, that the great Malcolm X, Imam El-Hajj Malik Shabazz, was once asked by a person, if you had one gun and two bullets, you have a white supremacist there and you have a coon, which one you shooting first? He responded, I shoot the coon twice. At least the white supremacist is more in a natural state. And I agree with that. Whether it's authentic or not, I agree with it. You know what I'm saying? For real. A coon is a disgusting, I don't see how people don't get it, man. These sellout, these bootlicks. And I also need for many of you Negroes to stop telling me or other people who their brother is. And this and that. And this person is still a brother. He or she is still black. And it's usually only and always when it comes to a black celebrity. Floyd Mayweather is my brother and all these other people. Whenever these shine bones are addressed, Stephen A. and Kanye, whoever you may think of, people, you make your own brothers. You know what I'm saying? Whenever these people who they love are addressed, people that they don't even know, you know, oh, it's, you know, still a brother. It's not my brother. Not my brother. Hell, you probably not my brother either. I wouldn't care what lineage you came off of, what plantation. I wouldn't even care if you was blood related. You're not my brother, man. Not my brother. Get that mess out of here. I'm tired of you people always saying that as well. You know what I mean? Anyway, this white supremacist here is an example of how many Americans feel. Okay. And let me tell you something about these people. They don't care about no Austin Metcalf, man. These crackers do not care about Austin Metcalf. They just see a situation where they could legitimize how they really feel and believe, and they jumping in. And they're just saying how they really felt, and they're getting behind something that they feel as though is against black people. And they running hard with it. We see this with Americans all the time. Here, this guy here, Rob Kosar, you know, he wants white folks to get the money up to push Karmelo Anthony, and he's telling lies of 400. They always are lying and stuff like that, creating stories and stuff like that. You know what I mean? This guy's bitter white trash. You could tell by how he looks in the picture and his shirt. Listen, he's the type of guy who would have been on the sidelines cheering for Karmelo Anthony as a football player at a Division I college.
That's a fact.
Even with that same mentality. This is how these people feel. This is how they roll. You are for nothing but entertainment and make money off of.
If you're part of a sports team, though.
But a lot of you Negroes start thinking, okay, well, it's a friendship. It's authentic. You know what I'm saying? But there are many guys running around like him that feel just like this. and people who agree with him 100. This situation here, they know that a black youth stabbed a white youth. Unfortunately, the white youth lost his life. Let's get on this one. Let's jump on it. They don't care about no Austin Metcalf. You know what I'm saying? They out here having White Lives Matter rallies. Nobody cares about their rallies. Austin Metcalf dad called him up on the phone.
That's called white guilt. No, let it talk.
See, this guy was pardoned. He had the nerve to do the White Lives Matter rally and stand and say black people are attacking whites all over the country and black people are there doing this, that, and the third. Once again, I'm going to have to do a whole live, and I'll debate anything on this. You see, what people need to understand and tell the truth, you kill and crime and that type of shit go on in the proximity of who is in your neighborhood. Majority of the crimes being committed to white people is happening by white people. White people is killing white people. They're like black people are killing black people, and then it mixes throughout the Salute family. It mixes throughout. You have some blacks killing whites, whites killing blacks, things of that nature. But whites themselves need to check themselves for the crimes they are committing in the motherfucking neighborhoods, extorting one another, the fentanyl, the drugs that's being pushed. And another thing that's such a fictitious lie, they sit on these racist platforms and say that the crimes at an all-time high and the drugs being pushed and these weak weapons. These black, I can't wait to get this. Put me on the news. White boys, the big white boys never bought shit from black people. Black people have always had to go to whites and Mexicans to get their motherfucking big-time drugs and get their big-time guns and things of that nature. Every so often, you'll have a black dude like a Frank Matthews who rise above the rest, and they have to deal with him because he's just a boss of all bosses. But they pretend like it's not the Aryan Brotherhoods, the Hells Angels, and these bandito by these biker gangs that's not controlling this crime and doing this major extortion. They can't blame black people. But this type of clown sits on motherfucking TV and pretend like whites need to keep their eye on the blacks. No, you need to stand up to the criminals in your fucking community who is extorting your community. And America just needs to just tell the truth. The white criminals like the Italians been the biggest fucking gangsters in American history, committing the biggest crimes. We didn't have anything to do with the killing of John F. Kennedy. That was the fucking Italians and the Jewish mafia. They need to be looking into that shit. That's why crime is, because even the black gangsters was imitating those gangsters, the real fucking gangsters. Al Capone, them white criminals, because we know the Italians say they're white. So they have to look in the fucking mirror. If you really want to fight crime, you got to start with the biggest fucking criminals in America. That's not us. That's a fact.
You're creating more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness, sir. You are creating more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness.
You are being weak. I gotta be honest with you about that, sir.
You're being weak. Condemn your son's killer and the culture that caused it. Hey, Jeff. That's the problem. You've been submitted. Hold on, hey, Jeff. You've been submitted. I'll handle it from here. You've been submitted, sir. You're not going to make us back down. If we were all of your nature. Guys, listen.
And my white friends, where they've been put down, they've been treated like trash just because they're white. And there's so many people say, oh, it's not true. It's not true. It is true. I see it day after day, month after month, year after year, and I'm tired of the anti-white racism.
What I'm tired of is I'm a historian. I know about history. I'm tired of the white people complaining about somebody always been taking something from them. They came over here complaining about that. Freedom of religion, and we living under the oppression of the king. Then they start oppressing people right motherfucking here. Start oppressing every motherfucking body. Then as soon as we got out of bondage, the black man. As soon as one day out of bondage, they taking our jobs. Bitch, we've been doing this shit for free. They don't want to give us no money. Oh, Lord, it's too many of this, it's too many of that. They have been complaining. Same complaint. That's what's so crazy. This ain't just started. This is not just started. This is the American story. Whining, complaining. And when they say people who have a victimhood status, Lord have mercy, I wonder who the fuck did we get it from? These complainers, nothing's ever been good to them. Nowhere. They even hate where they came from. Because when they said they had to come over here, so man, you hate your decision. You hate your ancestors. Everybody who came over here talking about a better life. What the fuck was wrong with your previous life? What the hell was going on over there? And now this dude on the ground, hate for the white man. Oh my, get over yourself. Get yourself together. It's over for you. Shit, you can no longer bully and do no more lynches. Boy, please. We're waiting to identify any real hitters come to this motherfucking rally. They wasn't stupid. They stayed, they bitch ass online and in they bars and places doing drugs and getting high and talking shit online. They getting stepped on in real fucking life. They already know that shit is over with. Look at this dude on the ground. Oh, we used to be able to lynch them when they did anything. They had to look at the ground. They won't look at the ground. Where they getting all this money from? How they raising $500,000 out of no motherfucking well? We thought they was broke. Where they getting all this money? We trying to keep them oppressed.
I'm tired of the anti-white hate. I'm tired of the anti-white violence. I will stand on top of a damn bus and scream that we are going to end this shit right now. Woo! That's my brother Philip Anderson. Philip Anderson is a January 6th patriot.
Dude said, get my son face off your website. So, you know, these people found a situation that they can get behind and they just running with it. And, you know, the American energy is typically always going to be grounded in racism, white supremacy. You see that guy, he had black people out there with him too. A couple big black coons or whatever. That's your brother, huh? That somebody could come on and tell you that, oh, that's your brother. You know what? Anyway, they usually only reserve that for celebrities, though. I noticed that. But anyway, man, you know, nobody cares about their little White Lives Matter situation, their rally. These people are just going off their racist whims. They see a situation that they can get behind to express how they really feel. And they usually going no further than the laptop. You know what I mean? Usually. Sometimes they go out a little bit more. But you see, nobody cared to be at their little situation right there. These people are a bunch of cowards sitting at home being lazy. All I got to do is type. You know, but on a serious note, this guy right here, this Kosar guy, he should be arrested. This guy should be arrested. Rob Kosar, what he just did. I don't think a black person can get away with that. Posting something like that on social media at a time like this, he should be brought in and held accountable, you know, for making a post like this. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if they say it's free speech, whatever, you know. I take the free speech situation. Just make sure, you know, it won't go both ways. That's the thing. So I can't even say make sure you know, it's both ways. It won't go both ways. This guy can get away with doing something like this. But this Austin Metcalf situation, Karmelo Anthony situation is real. It's always been there. This right here didn't cause any further divide. We've always been divided. White people do not like black people in America. They tolerate us as long as the situation benefits them, where they can be entertained, where they can make money, and that's it. When that's out the door, boom, you'll have these episodes where they always show their true colors. Anyway, easy.
But this is such a tragic case, and it is sad all around. But it's also had its share of surprises. And what happened this morning is no different. We were all waiting to hear the Anthony family talk for the first time on the record. It was supposed to start at 11. 10 minutes turned into 20, then 30. The reason? Austin Metcalf's father, Jeff Metcalf, had walked in.
Who was not invited, he knows that it's inappropriate to be near this family. But he did it.
Karmelo Anthony's charged with murder in his son's death at a track meet in Frisco on April 2nd. Jeff Metcalf said nothing. He just stood and waited. The group hosting this told him to leave, or they'd call Dallas police. The group's founder, Dominique Alexander, made this statement.
Is a disrespect to the dignity of his son.
Jeff Metcalf was escorted out by DPD before the family arrived to speak. Ultimately, it was not a court order that made him leave, but because the owner of the building said he was trespassing. Metcalf shook hands with officers and then left.
And look, on this channel, we hold racist Caucasian people accountable, because if we don't, who will? And see, sometimes you have to sit back, shut up, and use your common sense. Ever since this incident happened, the media chose their side from the jump. Their whole agenda was to make the Metcalf family seem innocent and happy. The whole time you had a news reporter, he tried too hard. He said, oh, your husband, he's in the house with y'all. She got mad as hell. Look at her face. Her own son had to tell her to shut up, make it make sense. And all along, the strong, loving family is this one. But they can't show you that. They can't tell you that Karmelo's parents been together for over 17 years. I told y'all the media is cold, but my channel is colder, and I'm not letting shit slide. Why was this dude even inside that building? Karmelo's parents never replied to none of the slander when they was on Fox, ABC, NBC, CNN, all these news outlets. They allowed this family to tell their side of the story. And then I said, wait. Like father, like son, the same way Austin tried to bully Karmelo under that tent, his father, Jeff Metcalf, tried to bully and intimidate Karmelo's parents in that building. Make it make sense. Jeff Metcalf just showed us. Matter of fact, run the tape again. And now we see where Austin get it from. I told y'all it runs deep in their blood. And trust me, if the tables will turn, they will say the same thing about us. Black people this, black people that. Trust me, the game is cold. But before I go all the way in on this article to the racist Caucasian people and where is the anger and the outrage when stuff like this happened? Back in March, 22-year-old Messiah Nantwi was murdered by 15 New York correctional officers. And last week, they finally got charged. And oh yeah, it was right across the street from where Mr. Robert Brooks was murdered by 18 correctional officers. Oh, you think I'm lying? Run the tape.
This morning, multiple New York prison guards faced charges in connection with the fatal beating of an inmate, marking the second time in recent months correctional officers in the state have been indicted.
Mr. Nantwi was beaten with fists, with batons, and with boots. And medical examiner testified about massive head injuries.
Authorities charging 10 guards in the death of Messiah Nantwi, 2 with murder. Nantwi died last month after witnesses say he was beaten by guards at the Mid-State Correctional Facility.
I think one way of analogizing it is, Mike Tyson went through an entire career as a boxer and no one ever killed him. And he never killed anyone. And his job was to hit people in the head and inflict injury upon them. So that should give you some idea of the severity of these alleged injuries.
It took them almost 2 months to even charge these officers. Black people go through this all the time. So I can always say, y'all will be okay. But before I get too carried away, let's get into this article so I can call out the BS. And this article is by the New York Post. It was published April 17, 2025 at 8:25 p.m. Father of slain teen Austin Metcalf crashes press conference held by accused unalive Karmelo Anthony's parents before being escorted out. And notice the words they use in these articles to make Karmelo look bad to the public. The father of slain 17-year-old Austin Metcalf crashed a press conference held by the family of his son's accused unalive before he was given the boot by Dallas police Thursday. Jeff Metcalf, whose son was stabbed to death after he and 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony got into an argument at a track meet in Frisco earlier this month, made his presence known, delaying the event and leading to sharp criticism from a supporter of Anthony. And like I said earlier, like father, like son, why did this dude think he can go in that building and intimidate that family and bully that family? His son tried the same thing under that tent. Just look at this picture. It tells you everything you need to know. And in my opinion, I believe that Dallas PD knew he was going to be there. This father being at the press conference is a disrespect to the dignity of his son, said Dominique Alexander, the leader of a local activist group, before Anthony's parents broke their silence for the first time. And look, Mr. Alexander, you're right. It was disrespectful. But before I continue with this article, I have to talk to you directly. I know you have a crazy past and there's too much to get into, but I notice every time I see Karmelo in a picture or video, I see you. It never fails. Even when you stand up there and you talk about this case, your voice is shaky, your head is down, you sound unprepared. I'ma just be honest, dude. You sound like a scammer. And how can I say this without sounding like an asshole? I'm going to tell you one time, don't mess up this case. It's not about you. We don't care about you. Matter of fact, a lot of people probably didn't even see this, but I saw it. Recently, I saw you on a celebrity platform giving an interview, and it seems like you was clout chasing. Well, partner, this ain't that. Cut the goofy shit out. Thank you. Karmelo's mother, Kayla Hayes, said her family is under attack during the press conference. Whatever you think that happened between Karmelo and the Metcalf boys, my 3 younger children, my husband, and I didn't do anything to deserve to be threatened, harassed, and lied about, she said in prepared remarks with her husband by her side. The lies and the false accusations that have been said about us, especially over the past week, has been overwhelming, Hayes said, claiming it has put her family in danger. I don't know why we are being targeted and discriminated against before a fair trial, Hayes said while expressing condolences to Metcalf's family. Our son deserves the same rights under the law that everyone is afforded to. And at the end of this video, I'm going to post that short clip. But didn't I say at the beginning of this video and other videos that this was happening? The Metcalf family is using the media to sway the jury before they even go to court. You even had the Proud Boys trying to start a White Lives Matter protest. Make it make sense. But like I said earlier, it's in their blood. I told y'all in most of my videos, they all on the same team. The Dallas PD, the investigators, the news reporters, the news outlets, all these people, the school, all these people are on the same team. You telling me by now we don't have no footage of what happened on that day? The day that incident happened, you telling me it's no footage? Just think about that. We have no footage. Now, if Karmelo was in the wrong, trust me, we will have footage by now. Instead of them going on all those news outlets, if Karmelo was really in the wrong, we will have footage. Somebody was recording. It's 2025. It's cameras everywhere. People pulling out their cell phones, recording the aftermath. You telling me it's no footage. Make that make sense. So we must stand with our people. The media is going to try to divide us with old played out tactics. I love that we are standing on business. We all we got. So just like I promised y'all, here's the short clip. I'm out.
My 13-year-old daughter is afraid to sleep in her own bedroom because she's fearful of what may happen to her. And let me be clear, the claims that were used about the public donation to buy a home or anything else are completely false. We have not received a single dime from the Give, Send, Go fundraiser. And the co-founder has stated that clearly. In the reality, we were just notified yesterday that we could begin to withdraw funds. And it still takes several days to receive those funds once a request is made. I don't know why we are being targeted and discriminated against before a fair trial. Our son deserves the same rights under the law that everyone is afforded to. He's been raised in a two-parent home with structure, stability, love, and we put God first in everything that we do. We believe in the Constitution. We believe in the laws of this state, but those laws must apply to all of us, not just some of us. To be clear, we will not speak publicly about specific details of what happened under the tent on that rainy and awful day. There's an active investigation that everyone involved wants to be full and fair. We believe in legal process, and that is where the truth will come out. To the family who experienced the loss, my heart truly goes out to you. To those who have supported my family, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We ask for your continued support, patience, and prayers as we navigate this difficult process. Thank you.
They tell you when you argue with a fool and people see that, all they see is two fools. That's all they see. They don't see one that's intelligent and then one is just a fool. They don't see that. Our people need to just do what we need to do. It's no explanation. If we're going to support Karmelo Anthony, we don't need to be telling them anything. We don't need to be announcing it. We don't need to be arguing with them about even Daniel Penny or Kyle Rittenhouse. We don't have to argue with them and say, no, we're just going to support our brother. And that's it. Because we already see what they're on, and we're saying, no, that's not about to happen. And then if they want to play this stuff with politics and they want to, all that, then okay, cool. We got our voter registration cards too. Well, we'll just go to the midterms and just get y'all out of there. We can do that. I told y'all I can vote for either side at any time. So if it's on some, Republicans, you starting that up? Okay, well, shoot, let the Democrats get back in there again. I guess I have to battle Democrats anyway. So I'll battle them again. That's fine. No problem. No problem at all. Right? So it's you say, oh my goodness, so glad to be back. Yeah, in the back and forth, these political parties, we know both of them are racist. We know that, but we can't, what I said before, be independent. Just be independent. And see, let me tell Republicans something else. This is why Democrats win elections. I'm going to tell you that. This is why Democrats will win elections. Because whether you realize it or not, there's more people in this country that don't look like you, okay, as time going along. And the Democrats play the game a lot better than you. They just do. They don't do nothing for us as black people, but they play the game a lot better than you. The Democrats are not going to go out saying things like this. And they may say some slick things too, but they're not so blatant with what they're doing. They're not blatant with it. And because they're not blatant with it, and maybe they play the game and they'll give you little tokens here and there. This is why a lot of black people still vote for the Democrat Party. This is why, even though they don't do nothing for us. And you literally, Republicans, are about to give the Democrats the House and the Senate back.
Big fact.
Because why? You can't help yourself. And I say it like this. You've been given a chance. This is not, if you want to stay in office, this is not the case to be leaning yourself on, because I promise you, you will be out of there next year. I promise you that. Black folks will get up and go get you on out of there. Yeah, the Democrats, we all know what the Democrats are on. We already know. I don't want to see the Democrats around pushing anything. But the bad part is about with the situation where, you know, you can say, oh, I can just sit it out, which is true. You could. But the bad part about some of these people who are on the Charlie Kirks and all them kind of people like that, they kind of force your hand to go out and get them out of office. They just kind of force you. I say, because you say, do I really want that attitude in government? Do I really want that kind of attitude? Now, a moderate, like I said, let's say if it's a moderate Democrat or a moderate Republican, I'm more cool with a moderate, whether a Democrat or Republican. I'm not cool with a left-wing progressive, and I'm not cool with a far-right zealot. I'm not cool with now one of them because they both the same. The far-right zealot is going to be more anti-black racist. The progressive is going to be an anti-black racist too, but their racism is just benign neglect black people. Don't give them a thing. Let's give it to the white women. Let's give abortions. Let's give immigration. They want to do for everybody else, the LGBT, and there's benign neglect. So you got one that's an anti-black racist and raging, a far-right zealot. Then you got the other one that just ignores us, don't give us nothing, but want us to go vote, and then use token black people. So we stuck in a creek no matter what, right? We are. Yeah, you're right, Danielle. I don't want to see any of them. I'm with you, Danielle. I don't want to see any of them, but I know black people, and black people are going to, the ones that may set out, will probably go in the midterms. If they keep pushing this, and it turns into something extremely political, those black people that set out are going to go vote out Republicans. I already know. I know my people. Now, let's get to the mother. The mother of Karmelo Anthony spoke. And I want you to hear, because they've been lying. I want you to listen to the lies and just the horrible things these people have been doing to Karmelo Anthony's family.
In wake of this tragic incident, our family has been under attack. Whatever you think what happened between Karmelo and the Metcalf boys, my 3 younger children, my husband, and I didn't do anything to deserve to be threatened, harassed, and lied about. The lies and false accusations that have been said about us, especially over the past week, has been overwhelming. The lies and their amplification put my family in danger, as well as everyone in our community, everyone involved in the investigation, from the police, the attorneys, and the court staff. Our address and my husband's previous employer's address has been put on all social media platforms. My husband had to take a leave of absence because he's afraid what may happen to our family.
Small has definitely been
his mental health is deteriorating day by day. We have endured death threats. My 13-year-old daughter is afraid to sleep in her own bedroom because she's fearful of what may happen to her. And let me be clear, the claims that were used about the public donation to buy a home or anything else are completely false. We have not received a single dime from the Give, Send, Go fundraiser. And the co-founder has stated that clearly. In the reality, we were just notified yesterday that we could begin to withdraw funds. And it still takes several days to receive those funds once a request is made. I don't know why we are being targeted and discriminated against before a fair trial. Our son deserves the same rights under the law that everyone is afforded to. He's been raised in a 2-parent home with structure, stability, love, and we put God first in everything that we do. We believe in the Constitution. We believe in the laws of this state, but those laws must apply to all of us, not just some of us. To be clear, we will not speak publicly about specific details of what happened under the tent on that rainy and awful day. There's an active investigation that everyone involved wants to be full and fair. We believe in legal process, and that is where the truth will come out. To the family who experienced the loss, my heart truly goes out to you. To those who have supported my family, thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We ask for your continued support, patience, and prayers as we navigate this difficult process. Thank you.
Well, as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, that the family of Karmelo Anthony is, suffering. They're suffering. And why? They're suffering because when it comes to destruction, when it comes to harassment, when it comes to just a lot of vile things, right on cue. And they're making threats. Nobody going to jail. Well, but let one of us make some threats online. Let us do something like that. Any of us. We're going to jail.
That energy they put out gonna come right back to the ass, threatening people.
They're making threats to the judge. Ain't heard nobody got arrested for making threats to the judge.
Like 1965.
They just doing whatever they want to do. Once again, I'm gonna circle back. This is why people were saying Trump bring back segregation. Now you get why? Because some people say, you know what? If we had segregation, then these cases wouldn't happen. We wouldn't have no interaction. Now her child is afraid to sleep.
Well, the problem is people expect man to do for them that great as he does in us, that he does in the world. We always got to fight back. We always have to fight back. No bloodless revolutions. People got to get that shit out their mind. We're fucking with the White House, fucking with the Senate, fucking with the generals and the admiral. Fuck all that bullshit. We got to fight. That's the simple thing. History, just look. Okay, let's look at any historical situation. You have to fight. And we can't be fooled to think fighting means not fighting. The best strategy is don't do it. Fuck all that. That failed with the civil rights. No disrespect to them. Fuck no, we're not going for none of that shit. And the only reason that young Karmelo, they so pissed right now because they saying we at maximum aggression right now. They know we're not going for nothing, anything. They already see that. They checking all the files. They say we all on the edge. We're not playing no motherfucking games. The elders don't tell us what to do. We don't listen. And the worst thing they could ever did was allow us to crowdfund shit like that. That's why they really pissed. They already know. They see we're going to do the righteous thing. And we don't give a fuck. You can't question us about why we're doing it. If you don't like it online, get your ass offline and let us know about that.
Sleep. Why? Because of what these people are doing. I'm telling you, y'all can say whatever you want to say right now. But you know what kind of peace I had when I was in Ethiopia? And I haven't realized that in a while because I ain't been in a while. How much peace it was. Not because the people are better or something like that, but there's way more Ethiopians over in Ethiopia, and I didn't have to deal with none of the microaggressions. I didn't have to deal with the racism.
These people, bro. These people got us fucked up. The example's been set. Ain't nobody going. And all the people who doing righteous shit all over the country, ain't nobody from be sitting in jail if you're doing just shit. And all that lawyers, we gonna get all that shit. You don't get out. You're a hero to your people forever. We building statues for legendary people who stand on this shit for their motherfucking people. Nigga, I don't give a damn. I don't give a shit who don't like it. Who are you not to like it, nigga? Not like it for real. All that typing and messages, fuck all that, nigga. We done chose war over shit like this. Nigga. That's real talk. Man. Ain't nobody that no motherfucking pro. And they talking about black. I see a lot of racists talking about this Black Lives Matter over here. Stop fucking lying, bitch. This ain't got nothing to do with none of them scammers. This is not. This ain't nothing fake. This ain't play. This is organic. That's the worst thing. That's the worst because that's real. Organic revolution is always the best. Ain't nobody. We ain't planned it. And we ain't let's all come together and all spontaneous shit. And they're fucking scared as fuck because they already know, nigga. And it's everywhere. It's not, one state they can target, one coast. We all over the fucking place. We got a problem with that racist bullshit. This ain't about, like I say, this ain't about no whites. No, we say the racist ones who talking shit. No, we separate the we from the who. We identifying you. We putting an address on it. We're not talking to everybody. We're not generalizing that shit because that's for cowards. We're talking to the racist bigots who say they want to do harm to that man, his family, or any of us. Cool, bitch. We want to do that to you. We want doing others as they doing us. We gonna be biblical with this shit.
Speaking of white terrorists, as we are, Kyle Rittenhouse kills 2 people. Y'all remember he killed 2 people with an AR-15, and he walks toward police like he's clocking out of work, and they let him. No threat, no worry, nothing. Then they give him a hero's welcome. Again, if you read my book, which book was it? Seen and Unseen. I talk about Kyle Rittenhouse. We talk about the story. Todd Brewster, I talk about this. So again, I'm on top of all these stories in my writing. Hopefully y'all read the
problem is we can't be upset with what they do for Kyle Rittenhouse, Daniel Penny, whatever, or any other hero they want to idolize. They idolize George Washington. They say he was a hero. People not complaining about that. He owned blacks and raped them and pillaged and plundered and killed people. He's my Hitler. So they idolize the Alamo. I done talked about this shit, and people really need to understand this shit. In Texas, they teach our kids the Alamo. The story of the Alamo is a heroic story. Jim Bowie, David Crockett, William Travis, those fucking slave traders, them bastards came all the way to Texas to keep black people in motherfucking bondage. They teach black kids them was heroes. Them was fucking slave trade bastards. I'm glad Santa Ana blessed their ass at the motherfucking Alamo. Santa Ana is my hero. Everybody know that. I respect Santa Ana because he told these bastards, you can't annex that part of Texas, but you can't own fucking people. No. Oh, no. That made the race soldiers go nuts. They sat there and played with Santa Ana. He wiped their ass out. Nothing story happened at the Alamo. They got their ass wiped out, hiding under beds, like some cowards, getting their ass kicked, went down real quick. That's the story that should be told. They're not fucking heroes. And enslaving my people is nothing heroic about you. But that I don't put. So what if they do that? It's us who don't lionize our soldiers who kick ass and take motherfucking names. See, but that's over with. That's over with. We gotta stop letting the boule choose our motherfucking heroes. They told us all our heroes don't fight back. They're peaceful people. Not doing nothing is the Gandhi play. We're gonna fuck about. Listen, we're gonna shit about no Gandhi, bro. That racist bastard. Why do we give a fuck about him? Rip that Gandhi bullshit up and flush it down the trash.
The work, especially
if you didn't liberate no fucking India.
But Kyle Rittenhouse, who did some wild stuff and got away with it, decides that he wants to take to Twitter. He has opinions on this Karmelo Anthony situation. So let's see what every white nationalist's favorite killer says. He said, so the left thinks what Karmelo Anthony did was self-defense, but what I did wasn't. Can someone please help this make sense? I'll give y'all some context in case you didn't know. 17-year-old Karmelo Anthony is a black student in Texas who allegedly stabbed another teen in a school fight during a track meet. The kid, Austin Metcalf.
Missionary salute to our Queen by Capricorn for the donation to the war chest. Revolution is the way of life. Absolutely appreciate the love, Queen. Salute to you. Everything helps keep the lights on in the House of Revolution. Salute.
Died. There was no AR-15. There was no riot gear. And they threw him $1 million bond. $1 million fucking dollars.
Good.
Like he's a cartel boss. Same age, same country, two systems.
I'm glad they did that because that really pissed back folks. Look what you did. Look what you did when you done that for those racist bastards. Look what you did. Look what they did. And now they're so pissed Karmelo was getting so much. Yeah, because of what you did. Now I want you to understand this. It's way more whites in this motherfucking country. Okay, Kyle Rittenhouse got 2 million. You know how many whites it is? 7 for every black person. 8 to 1. What they got? 8 to 1? I don't know. It ain't maybe 4 to 5 to 1. Karmelo raised over $500,000. They was pissed because they counting like, oh, wait a minute. Man, they raising above their weight. Shit, we didn't. Damn. They really doing like that? Yes, we're doing like that, man. We gonna double up. We gotta double up to make it count. They hate that shit.
No, anyway. That Kyle Rittenhouse is being mistreated is crazy. Karmelo's already been labeled a criminal. Kyle Rittenhouse was the poster boy for patriotism. He got speaking engagements. He got the blessing of the Republican Party. He got so much. And the fact that Rittenhouse is still out here trying to troll a black family from the safety of his media platform, while that same family just had to call the cops to remove Metcalf's dad from their press conference. That's right. Karmelo's parents finally got to speak out, backed by the Next Generation Action Network in Dallas, Texas. But before they could even start, Austin Metcalf's dad shows up uninvited, of course, despite a court order that barred contact. He had to be removed from police. Imagine if a black person did that. Imagine if a black person just showed up to a press conference where they were told to keep a distance. Imagine how that would have been regarded.
See,
imagine how that
don't need to try to. The Democrats, because I see what they're doing, old roly-poly, Boule Morton over there. They don't need to try to pretend like if Joe Biden, old Smokey Joe would have been in office. Plenty of black people getting lynched and killed, hung all over this fucking country he don't want his kids raised in the jungle, Jim Crow Joe. You see, this is a problem we have to face no matter who in power. This is good. I hope the Democrats, what y'all want to stand up and fight now. And like I said, are you telling me that the white Democrats, they're finally ready to give us a hate bill? Because all the hate, they see this hate online. And they tell us it's us. They say we hate for, bullshit. If we hate for your ass, wouldn't even be here. You wouldn't be here. You got blood on your hands. Yes. You're guilty. Yes. You idolize murderers. You idolize genocidal maniacs and slavers and call them founding fathers. Let's start right there. Let's start at America having the audacity to say that's why they ain't my founding fathers, them murdering, slave trading bastards. That's why our business built different. I don't give they kill us. So do the Germans get to talk like that? Do the Germans get to talk like that? I want to know. Do they get to say Hitler was great? Hell no. Oh, he killed people. Y'all hung, lynched, brutalized, and genocide people in this fucking country. You ain't atoned for it. You still build monuments to slavers and rapists. You got to deal with that type of shit. That's the problem. That's your sickness, America. You act like it's China, Russia, Iran. No, it's you. Look in the fucking mirror.
That would have been treated. But of course, when you black, it's different, right? I saw
the Silverado Trail Boss.
So,
a little work.
I'm deeply, profoundly frustrated by the gaps here. And yet Kyle Rittenhouse is acting like, oh yeah, there's gaps. Kyle Rittenhouse is like, oh, there's gaps. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to play that. I didn't need y'all to see that. I wanted you to hear Carmelo Anthony's mother, who spoke here at the press. We
heard her. That's why I just want to let y'all hear. Some of y'all heard Kyle Rittenhouse, that phony, who, hey, he come out and do whatever he want to do because that was a big time mistake. Trying to raise that money because he killed what they call, Kyle Rittenhouse, I told people, he didn't kill black people. He killed what they call nigga lovers, commies who support niggas. That's why they praise Kyle Rittenhouse. Because he killed whites who was hanging with niggas. So they say, oh yeah, we got to make sure, example is set, don't ever try to support niggas, ever.
That brings me to this case because this was brought to my attention.
Revolutionary salute to our brother Gary Malone for the donation to the war chest. Revolution is well life. Appreciate the love, family. Salute.
And you guys, I told you guys before, when I find out more information, we're gonna bring it forward. right? So the theme today is law and order. And we've been talking about the Karmelo Anthony case. It was brought to my attention by you guys who emailed me that there is another case in Texas that is similar to the Karmelo Anthony case. And I want to play this video here. This involves Caysen Allison. Everyone, listen to this really quick. Similar situation with Karmelo Anthony. And then Nico, I want to get your take on this.
Video was replayed from yesterday showing the school hallway where you see the boys entering the bathroom and then leaving sometime later in a rush. And then the short video caught on Shamel's phone of what happened on the other side of the door was played. Shamel explaining that what he caught on video shows Ramirez taking the first swing at Allison, and then you see Allison pull out the knife before a loud scream is heard and the video cuts off. Barber said Allison didn't want to fight and just wanted to make it to graduation. And Shamel said in the moment, it didn't look like Allison wanted to fight. Barber also said that Ramirez and his friends were known to fight, and Shamel saying Ramirez liked having his fights recorded, and that this fight was planned, but no one expected it to happen on school grounds. Barber said it wasn't normal for Allison to have a knife on him, but she knew he had one because Allison told her he got one for protection. An altercation was described by former students that an argument broke out at a prom after party, and it was likely that Ramirez and Allison verbally fought over a girl. Shamel told the court that Ramirez looked surprised to see Allison in the bathroom that day, and you could feel the tension between the two. Barber is seen talking to Ramirez on the hallway security footage, visibly upset. She started to cry as she explained to the court that she was trying to tell Ramirez that the fight isn't worth it because they are about to graduate. Court wrapped for the day just 20 minutes after a fifth witness was brought in, Josh Grimes, another good friend of Ramirez, who was also in the bathroom when the fight started. So they will be back here tomorrow morning at 9, where the defense will continue to question Grimes.
So this case here between these two boys, Ramirez and Allison, similar situation, Nico, where one had a knife with him on him, just like Karmelo Anthony, right? So they got into a scuffle or whatever, and the kid that had the knife stabbed the other kid, just like with Karmelo Anthony. But
which, by the way, is actually kind of worse. I mean, because from the way it was described, he's saying that he was to some degree aware that there was going to be a fight in school, potentially. There's going to be a patient, and it was premeditated. So like now you're in that's actually a worse situation than what Karmelo's like. He looked like he always just kept the knife on for protection because it's like you're a black kid in Texas, and you just never know what can happen. I don't know if I've ever been in track. By the way, I was a part of a brawl. I didn't do it. It was like, but half of our track team was part of a gang. So like, it just so happened that half of the other track team was part of a gang, and it was a brawl. It ended up like just being fists, but like, you never know what could happen depending on what area you live in. In Texas is wild, y'all. I don't know if you know these high schools in Texas, but you talking about like open campus on high school. They can just walk out and leave and come back when they want to. It's like Wild West out there. So just let y'all know. It's not that crazy to have a knife on you and attract me. I'm just saying.
But I never had that. I had that experience. But the thing I want to bring up is this. Notice how the media, corporate media, Fox News, all of them, notice how they are covering the Karmelo Anthony case. Yep. You don't see them covering this case, which is very similar. And in Texas around the same time.
Yeah, it's like within the exact same. It's like, I think it's supposed to go it started, maybe a couple of days ago. And it's supposed to go until the 25th. And I think Karmelo Anthony's case is actually around, like literally supposed to be happening around the same time. Even their bond, the bond was $1 million originally for Caysen Allison. And then it got lowered to $250,000. Same thing happened with Karmelo, right? But like I said, in this situation with Karmelo, what's interesting to me is that all of a sudden, these people who they just preach self-defense, like that argument just goes out the window. And you're seeing them create this divide on purpose, like literally, like without even trying to hide it. Like, oh, we need to drum up sympathy for the what's his name? The white kid who was stabbed by Karmelo. Metcalf. Yeah, like we need to drum up. Like basically, they want to drum up sympathy. They only create like a GoFundMe, literally to compete with Karmelo. Like it's weird, y'all. They're like, oh, we got to defend our guy. You look at this monster. Look at and even tried to make up lies about his family buying this house using the Give Send Go money, and they're like, no, we moved because one, we need the safety because of how this case is being covered, right? Which is crazy, right? Because you didn't read anything. At least I didn't see anything about Caysen Allison, his whole family needing to relocate because of how this case was covered.
But why? But why is that, Nico? This is the point I'm trying to make. I think the media chose to focus on the Karmelo Anthony case and not the Caysen Allison case, which they should focus on both, because they're trying to make it a racial divide.
Exactly.
That's what I really think is happening. Remember, both sides have said that this was not a racial incident. Both sides with Karmelo Anthony's case have said that. But the media, you look at Fox News, the way they covered this, the way a lot of the conservative commentators like Benny Johnson, Officer Tatum, the way that they covered it and stuff like that. But they're not talking about the Caysen Allison case. Similar case, same state, around the same time. So what I'm trying to put out there to people is they're trying to, I really do think, create some type of a race war.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's at least they're trying to create like some online, because let's be honest, unfortunately, with a lot of those SJW commentators, they can't focus on Trump as much anymore. A lot of them can't make money off of the Trump economy, was what I like to call it, because he's been kind of screwing them over. A lot of them are trying to transition away from it, and they have to go into these SJW tactics. They have to revert back. Even Fox News, right? Because talking about Israel is not the business. Like, it's not winning them anybody over. Trump and these tariffs are exposing everybody. It's like, okay, are you loyal to the U.S. or are you loyal to Trump? And the way that people are trying to defend his tariffs has been going over that well. So what do you have to revert back to? Same thing when you're not talking about Biden and you can't defend Trump, they go back to SJW tactics. Not unlike what they complain about with radical leftists or really liberals. So they have to make it about race. And it doesn't work if you're talking about a white kid who stabbed a Latino, right? It doesn't work the same. But if a black kid stabs a white kid, what is he doing with a knife on school campus? And he like, well, no, the dude approached him and he said, don't touch me. And he touched me and he got stabbed. I mean, I actually agree with being able to defend yourself. I personally think he should have took it that far, but I also don't think he should be tried for murder. Like, I don't think he should be found guilty of murder. But like, you did bring a knife on school campus, like or even at a track meet, that's illegal, right? So you're gonna have to deal with those consequences. But it isn't, like you said, had nothing to do with race. Has nothing to do with the character of Karmelo Anthony as a young man. I mean, he was captain of his track team, captain of his football team. His family seems to be well-to-do. His mom is a stay-at-home mother because his dad does so well for himself. They didn't use that money from Give, Send, Go, but people are lying because there was an assumption that how could a black family move out of nowhere into a gated community? Well, we were actually living in a nice house before. We just moved houses. That's it. Because of y'all. But Caysen Allison's family didn't have to do that. Why is that? And no one wants to deal with that question.
That part right there. And speaking of that, the father did speak out again. Austin Metcalf's dad just spoke. There was a rally. I guess this was supposed to be a rally for Austin Metcalf, and his father was not a part of this rally. But they did something that I thought was just so crummy. They called his dad on the phone to let him know, like, hey, we're here, like, rallying for Austin. And this is supposed to be like this white lives, like protect white lives or whatever, like rally, right?
The dad understand that was bad publicity and press for his son. So his dad was told by the lawyers and other big white supremacists to distance himself from the white supremacist bozo who showed up talking about save white lives. And see, they don't want to go that route. They want to hint at it. And he loved all the support from the white supremacists, but they don't want to come out and put their face next to that type of bigotry.
Right? I want you guys to hear what the father says to them on the phone.
Would you be willing to stand by me in a press conference or in an individual interview and talk about this issue that is larger than Austin at this point? God rest the beautiful young man's soul that would have been one of our strongest voices if he was still alive today.
What?
Yes, I am, sir.
Hey.
That's called white guilt.
No, let it talk.
You're creating more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness, sir. You are creating more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness.
You are being weak. I gotta be honest with you about that, sir.
You're being weak.
Wow.
Condemn your son's killer and the culture that caused it.
Then he got this token shoe shine next to him. You heard him? Black man here. That's a token black man. Because the black man was standing next to this clown. He was yelling, black people hate white people. And I'm killing him. Then he got this clown next to him. Black man saying, yes, we doing all we doing. Whatever he say we doing. We raping white women. This is disgusting. Black man here, yes, you're being weak. You need to be more vocal on getting black people lynched. That's crazy.
So here is Austin Metcalf's dad, who they called, which I'm sorry, like this was just so dirty. Like, let him grieve his son, right? So they called his dad while they're at this rally, and his dad said, "You are trying to create racial divide." He said, "Take my son's picture off your website." If you guys haven't seen, they have a picture of Austin Metcalf that's kind of going around on social media and apparently also on this website. And it says "White Lives Matter," that type of thing. And the father basically said, "No, I'm not having this. What are you doing?"
It's crazy how it went from all lives matter to white lives matter that quick, huh, Sabby? Kind of like how we said it was always white lives, because that's what they were really saying whenever people say all lives matter. If like, why do you have to say if Black Lives Matter? Why do you have to say all lives matter? Or if all lives matter, rather, why do you have to negate me when I say Black Lives Matter? Because what you really mean to say is white lives matter. I don't know why. Like, I'm not saying your lives don't matter, but why do you need to interrupt me to say that? And they're making it. At least they're being honest. But shout out to his dad, yo. He's like, hey, just want to make sure everybody hears me. Fuck y'all. I don't want nothing to do with you. And I appreciate the fact that even in this time of grief, like he took the time to make it known how he felt, because I believe to some degree he understands. Like, I'm not a fool, because you know your kids. And he's like, my son was the aggressor, and he probably raised his son better. And he also probably knows, of course, his son's not racist, but we know, especially like you live in Fayetteville, like you know how school rivalries can get. It can get violent. Unfortunately, that's just a reality of the situation. In a situation that shouldn't have turned bad, made a turn for the worse. It doesn't mean Karmelo is an evil human being. It doesn't mean that Austin deserves to die. And that's just it's an unfortunate situation. I do believe in self-defense, but none of this has to do with race. I don't believe that Austin Metcalf was racist. I believe that was probably like, get the hell out of my tent. You're not from our school. And for all we know, it could be a heated school. I mean, our school was in a couple of heated ass rivalries, and you don't know what that person's intention is. And and we don't know what personally, and I made this point on Twitter, like you don't know what Karmelo has been through, right? Like I have anxiety being like in large crowds or in clubs or situations like that, or like if somebody like starts raising their voice out of nowhere, because where I grew up at in Fayetteville, like the moment someone raises their voice, you're assuming it's a punch about to be thrown or someone's about to get shot. Yeah. And it was my life for the majority of my young adult life. That was what I had gone through. And so like my brother always like jokes, but he's being dead ass serious. Everybody's like, oh, why, how can you fight so well? And he's like, oh, it's because I have anxiety. I have really bad anxiety. I get nervous. And so I don't take any chances. And everybody starts laughing. He's dead. Like, no, we're dead ass serious. Because my friends later on in life, they came from pretty well off families. We went to night schools. But like whenever we felt like we were threatened, me or my brother, like it was, we don't take any chances. We just knock the motherfucker out. We don't, because you're yelling, you're raising your voice. My assumption is you're gonna fight me. We don't know if you've lived in Texas, if you've been to Texas, bro, like go to like El Paso. My godson, immediately. It's sad because I had to be on his head about it, and it's gotten a lot of trouble. But like, also understand it. He's half Mexican, half white, but he looks white, so he's not Mexican. Basically, is what I'm telling y'all. And he moved to El Paso in his junior year of high school, guys. He ain't make it a week without having to fight somebody. Didn't make it a week. And that was unfortunately somewhat of a race thing. It wasn't directly related to that. It was like partially being him being a new kid, not being Mexican at a mostly Mexican school. Like, but my godson also reacted to living in Fayetteville his entire life. And he's like, if you raising your voice, and he started carrying a pistol with him to school. He didn't bring it on campus, it was open campus, but like he would hide his pistol away because he remembered everybody who's died or almost died because of the experiences that he lived in Fayetteville. So we don't even know what Karmelo's gone through that he felt like he had to bring a knife.
Yeah, Nico and I both went to high school in Vietnam and Fayetteville, North Carolina, but we used to call it Vietnam. And like I went to Southview, and the school rivalry is like it was a big deal. Like there was a kid at my school, and I'll never forget this, you guys. This is why I say, like, you never know, right? There was a kid at my school. He got into an argument with kids from, rivalry school, right? At the McDonald's. This wasn't even
whenever First and South used to beef.
Yeah, like got into an argument at McDonald's, and they left McDonald's or whatever, and that was supposed to be the end of it. He left McDonald's, went to the gas station. They followed him to the gas station and killed him.
Yep.
Killed him. That was my freshman year of college. My mom called me to tell me, do you know this kid he was a senior?
How many people have been killed at Ray Farrell McDonald's? Like over nothing. Over nothing. Like things that like are trivial, juvenile, like now, yeah. But like for that stuff, just because you leave Fayetteville, like you don't ever remember that. People always talk about the fact, like Fayetteville people always mention the fact, like, yo, you feel like you never, like, Fayetteville never leaves you because the way people think, like y'all, a lot of people in some cities, they feel like they're gangster or whatever, like, or they feel like they're this hot shit and oh yeah, we like fight, we'll do this, we'll do that. But like people from Fayetteville, if you look like you're about to start some shit, even if they're out of town, especially if they're out of town, they think we're crazy. Because when you say your intention or you show your intention to fight somebody, like from Fayetteville, it's going to happen. We're not waiting for you to figure it out. We're not about to have a whole conversation about it. We're going to do whatever we can to protect ourselves because in Fayetteville, they don't really do that much talking. Somebody is going to die or somebody is going to get into a fight. And so that's like, I'm not saying it is right, but I'm just saying like that's reality. And so with this Karmelo situation, being that he's in Texas, I don't know what the dynamics of the school are. I don't know what's going on with, because it could be like that. Especially, like I said, given my godson's experience, I don't know what the dynamic is. So even though he shouldn't have had that knife with him, and he comes from a well-off family, what the hell I don't know what's going on in that situation where he felt like he needed to protect himself with a knife. Because he was very, very clear, according to what everybody's saying. Like he told him, "Don't put your hands on me," and was ready immediately to defend himself in a way that could destroy his life. Unfortunately, it really is already destroying his life, even if he gets off. Right, the way that people are viewing him, we don't know how that's going to affect his future. We don't know if it's going to affect scholarships, college applications, jobs, because now he's famous for stabbing a white kid, and we know how much implicit racial bias is out there.
Well, I'll tell you what I heard recently. Judge Joe Brown has been covering this. He was covering it on Dana's show, Dana with the Data. And Judge Joe Brown was comparing these two cases, Caysen Allison and Karmelo Anthony. And he said, with both cases, the force that was used is not self-defense for both of them. And he said because the response is not adequate to the force that was used against them.
Yeah, I mean, the unfortunate truth is I can see that. Because if you got a really good lawyer arguing for one case, so because Karmelo had time to go in his bag, right, to pull the knife out, it actually would mean that there wasn't enough force, it was like a life-threatening movement that was made by Metcalf, by Austin. Because if you were like knocked on your ass, shot, or something like that, or being jumped, you're not really gonna have enough time to get into your bag to get your knife to pull it out and to stab him. And
but he said the same. He said the same thing about Caysen Allison. He said the same thing. So
Ellison, there was already an acknowledgement that there was a problem he was waiting to happen, like that he was waiting for it to happen. So that's premeditated. So he was kind of screwed from the jump. and then you brought a knife on campus onto your own school, and you stab somebody with the expectation of a fight happening, not knowing that this other you didn't say like, oh, I had heard that he had a gun. And if he would have said that prior to the stabbing, I feel like that might have somewhat justified it. Like then you can maybe get into the argument of self-defense with a little bit more confidence. But at the bare minimum, both are going to get manslaughter. At the very bare minimum, both are going to get manslaughter on top of obviously bringing weapons onto a school campus, which is a federal crime, I think, in most states. It's a federal crime, right?
At Texas, they can bring a knife as long as the blade is a certain inches. It has to be a certain size.
Most Texas shit ever. Like, what?
I looked it up. I'm serious. I looked it up because I was curious as well. But here's the thing. The manslaughter thing, I think you're right. At the bare minimum, both of them, because there was a kid here in Massachusetts. He was just turning 18. He was a senior in high school. He was about to go to college. And he was texting and driving, and he looked up and he hit a car head on. So it was a head on collision. The man in the car died. And I watched the trial on TV. I remember watching the local news when they sentenced him to jail. His life is over. And I remember he was crying in the court, young kid. He was crying and he was like, I didn't mean to do it. I looked down at my phone for like 1 second. And sometimes that's all it takes. But the judge, jury wasn't trying to hear that. They were just like, you may not have meant to kill that man, but you did kill him. So you got it. They charged him with manslaughter. So I would be surprised if neither one of these cases don't get that.
Yeah, because that's an accident, right? That's like not premeditated. And when you're talking about murdering a kid, I think they were both 18, right? All parties were at least 18, if I'm not mistaken.
Karmelo is 17.
So, but in Texas they get charged from 16 and up. They get charged with they get charged as 18-year-olds, right? As adults, if I'm not mistaken. Because him being 17 might be the only saving grace he has. Like to not be getting life, but I think that he's facing. Oh no, Caysen's facing 5 to 99. Is it Caysen's facing 5 years and 99 years, or is it Karmelo?
Rick said 17 is an adult in Texas.
Yeah. So okay, yeah. So it's both of them then. Probably they're both facing life basically, which is sad. It really is. Kids, stop! Come on, y'all. Y'all got to stop this shit. That's just another like.
As the Karmelo Anthony case continues to make headlines, we are directed to another story that's in Texas involving two other students, a Caysen Allison and a Jose Luis Ramirez. This occurred back in 2022. Caysen Allison fatally stabbed Jose Ramirez in a school bathroom with a pocket knife. Let's look at the similarities and the differences in these two cases.
Next on deck with Tim Black.
More witnesses took the stand today in the murder trial of Caysen Allison.
Allison is facing charges alleging he stabbed and killed fellow Belton High School student Joe Ramirez. 6 News reporter Sydney Walker was back in the courtroom for day 2 of the trial. And Sydney, what did you hear from today?
Today, we heard from a Belton PD detective who was there that day on the scene, as well as a close friend of Caysen's who tried to break up the fight before it even happened, plus 3 boys who were in the bathroom the day of the fight when it occurred. Yesterday, we heard a lot from staff about what Joe's injuries were and the response that was taken, but today was focused way more on the dynamics between the 2 boys as well as their respective friend groups. For instance, after multiple graphic crime scene photos were shown, we learned from a Belton PD detective's testimony that he had obtained a video taken inside the bathroom by one of Joe's friends. His friend admitted Ramirez liked to have his fights recorded, but that he deleted the video because he was, quote, scared of what happened. The video shows Ramirez punching Allison, and Allison swinging back, a knife in his right hand. Allison is later cornered, and a scream can be heard coming from Ramirez.
So basically what we're hearing here, guys, and I don't know, maybe you heard it too, sounds like Ramirez was the aggressor. And this literally happened in school, unlike Karmelo Anthony, who was at a track meet at a track that it was not at school. But people keep saying it was at school. We got Caysen Allison, who retaliated to the punch and stabbing Ramirez 4 times. And he's claiming self-defense. I haven't heard this one on the news, and you're right, folks. If you're thinking, hey, you know what? Whenever it's black and white, it's always going to get played up in the media. And I agree with you. And that's a damn shame, Johnson. But we are here. Here we are. You know what I'm saying? It's what they do. Well, what I won't do is pretend that we're not living in America. Because America's been doing that since America's been America. Even before that. Even before this country was officially a country, we've been doing this. Here's the thing, folks. For some reason, he's been out on bail. Once again, at less of a bond. Anyway, so the trial began yesterday, or on the 14th. And evidence includes school surveillance, 911 calls, and wireless cell phone video showing Ramirez throwing the first punch. So, we'll see how this one goes. Once again, we got a knife on school grounds. In this one, the assailant, I don't know, the person who finished the job, he stabbed the deceased 4 times. We'll see where this goes. Yeah, because I don't know. So it looks like making bail doesn't seem to be that crazy an idea, even though with the Karmelo Anthony story, they're even not only threatening the life of Karmelo Anthony's family, including his youngest siblings, and his mom and his dad, but they now resorted to threatening the life of the judge, who is a black woman, who's a Republican, who lowered the bond from $1 million to $250,000. That's not as low as it could have went. Yeah. As we can see here, there's precedents to lower it even lower, and she didn't.
But they can see someone that looks like them on the bench. I think that is so beneficial because it's representation. And when they look at me, young kids, law students, whoever it is, I want them to say, if she can do it, I can do it too.
They're even threatening her life, that she has to go get security. And we just saw a segment where our good friends, Benny Johnson, our good conservative friends, just made it seem like no one does this except black people that get, I don't know. It just made it seem like everything that's been going on has been sort of crazy and sort of a black thing. Anyway, and there's been no precedent where this has ever happened before. Like I said, look, hey, we got a long way to go and more evidence is going to come out. And, so I'm not suggesting we know everything that we're going to know. All I'm saying is, if you're a person that supported Daniel Penny and you don't support Karmelo Anthony, I got to wonder why. But if you're a person that support neither, then at least I understand your point of view. At least you can make the argument, hey, I don't support Daniel Penny, and I don't support this guy, Caysen Allison, who was punched first by Joe Ramirez to respond by using a knife and stabbing a guy 4 times, or another kid 4 times. And I don't support Karmelo Anthony. And I would say I understand where you're coming from, because you're consistent. My problem is with people that lack consistency. There are people that I know detest violence no matter what happens. And unless somebody tries to take your life with a weapon, they would say, get away, run away, fly away, get away. And that's just how they are, and that's how they've always been. And if they're consistent with that, I would have no words for them, no negative words for them, because that's a person who believes what they believe. But I haven't been a person who grew up a certain way, where people did get violent, where people did pull guns and knives and stuff, and people did jump people. And I have seen people get beat to the point where they almost lost their lives. who were severely injured by a fist fight. Because when people get knocked down, sometimes they stomp you. All types of stuff happen. Point is this. My background leads me to believe that once you lay hands on people, you don't know where it's going to go. So this Caysen Allison story, I just became aware of it. But hey, we got to keep an eye on it because we're keeping an eye on the Karmelo Anthony story. And this serves as a good barometer check, right? Allison admitted to stabbing Ramirez. He was indicted by a grand jury in June 2022 for murder. And initial bond was set at $1 million, just like Karmelo Anthony. His bail was reduced to $175,000. That's considerably lower than Carmelo's bail.
I think you can imagine the press coverage on this case has been immense, and the online and public reaction has been immense. And unfortunately, as is common in our culture, especially lately, the vitriol and the public reaction one way or the other has been intense. And threats and talk of race war and all kinds of insanity isn't good for, obviously, the Anthony family. It's not good for the Metcalf family. It's not good for the peace and safety of our community. So, I would ask, and I know both sides would ask, that the temperature on this be allowed to come down, that, the media, you guys have a job to do, and I understand that everyone does, but, at the same time, we just ask everyone in the public and everywhere to let this process play out fairly and fully for both sides.
And he stabbed Ramirez chest, back, legs, and arm. He stabbed him 4 times. And he caught another charge afterwards, like after being home on bond, he caught another charge and was able to bond and still stay out of jail. He's also arguing self-defense. Perfect. You made it to the end of the video.
Information tonight on a deadly hit and run involving a 10-year-old earlier this month. 3 News Side's Teddy Reedy with the latest.
On April 6, 10-year-old Jordan Hill was killed while he was riding an ATV. The driver who hit him was identified as Cody Rawlinson, who fled the scene after the crash. According to Emmett County detectives, 911 calls started coming just before noon on Sunday, April 6th. When emergency crews arrived on scene, they found Jordan Hill dead at the crash site and Cody Rollins' pickup truck nowhere in sight. Later that day, police arrested Rawlinson and charged him with possession of marijuana and felony leaving the scene of an accident. Rawlinson was released on a $41,000 bond for both charges. We spoke with the family's spokesperson who says they want justice served to the fullest.
We are heartbroken, enraged, and demanding answers after the senseless murder of a 10-year-old Jordan Hill in Liberty, Mississippi. Jordan was simply riding his ATV on the side of the road, not in the road, not causing harm, just being a child. A racist white man took it upon himself to take Jordan's life. This was not a misunderstanding. This was not an accident. This was a hate crime.
More charges could be on the way for Rawlinson as detectives wait on Emmett County's crime lab to get back with results. And the FBI is also working this case. They are looking into potential other cases where Rawlinson left the scene of an accident. The public visitation for Jordan Hill will be Friday, April 18th, starting at 6 p.m. at the National Guard Armory in Gloucester. The family asked those attending to wear blue in honor of Hill. Teddy Reedy, 3 on your side.
And look, on this channel, we hold racist Caucasian people accountable because when Black people commit crimes, they have no problem holding us accountable. Matter of fact, Fox News will get up there and they'll give a whole lecture and break down every crime that Black people commit, make it make sense. And you guys step back and use your common sense. If I was to run over a little Caucasian boy, my mugshot will be everywhere. It'll be on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest. It'll be on Snapchat. It'll be on every social media account. But when I tried to look up this dog-smelling boy's mugshot, I found nothing. This baby, Jordan Hill, was only 10 years old. He had his whole life ahead of him. So you think I'm going to let this slide? Hell no. So let me get this right. You telling me that Kyron Lacey was crucified by the whole world for something he didn't even do. But this pig-skin, dog-smelling, water boy, mama said, racist Caucasian, murdered a black boy and fled the scene. No media coverage, no outrage. Make it make sense. But I told y'all yesterday, when racist Caucasian murder our people, they can sleep well at night. They don't worry. But when those tables turn, they can't take it. They can't handle it. But that's why I have no sympathy when I make these videos. Now you see why. 10-year-old Jordan Hill was murdered on April 6, 2025. Today is April 18, 2025. And mind you, no major media outlets talked about this story. None of them covered this story. So when I did my research, man, the cover up is crazy. But before I go all the way in on this article, check this out. Last October, I covered the story about a truck driver named Tremaine White. He's also from Amite County, and he was going to visit his mother. And matter of fact, run the tape.
Investigation is underway after a man was discovered dead while at the Amite County Jail.
As 12 News' Tia McKenzie reports, it's a story that raises concerns about excessive force and police misconduct.
One family is in search for answers. However, they're left with more questions than anything. The family of 41-year-old Tremaine White says he was found dead earlier this month while in custody of Amite County law enforcement. Bobby DiCello is the family's attorney.
We are developing information that we believe is very concerning. I can't make further comment beyond that.
The Mississippi Bureau of Investigation released a statement saying, quote, MBI is investigating this incident that occurred at Amite County Jail. Agents are continuing to investigate and gather evidence and information. This remains an open and ongoing investigation.
How does a man tossing a bag out of his car by a tire store end up dead in jail? That's a stretch.
DiCello says there is a cultural and social problem in America and there needs to be transparency.
Why not transparency? Why not an allowance of seeing body cam? Is there body cam? If not, what happened inside the jail? There's got to be video of that. There's got to be video of the booking. Why not provide it?
We reached out to the Amite County Sheriff's Office. However, we have not heard back. Reporting in Amite County, Tia McKenzie, 12 News.
And see, I keep telling people, Louisiana, Texas, Mississippi, Florida, they play by their own rules and laws. We'll never see that body cam footage on how Tremaine White actually was murdered by these cowards. But you see the games these cowards play? But in my opinion, I feel like all those officers that unalived Mr. Tremaine White, they deserve the same treatment, the same beating. Whatever he got, they deserve the same thing. Forget that forgiving shit. I'm tired of that. But before I get too pissed off, let's get into this article so I can show y'all how cold this media really is. And before I get into this article, you have to realize America does not give a damn about Mississippi. So that's why we have to use our platforms to expose what's going on, because they're not going to talk about it. They're going to let it go because they don't care about Mississippi. To them, Mississippi is always going to be a plantation. So we have to always expose this shit, because this is a local news article and you go see the lies they talk about. This article is about a local news outlet in Mississippi called WJTV. It was published April 17, 2025, yesterday. Man charged after Mississippi 10-year-old unalived in ATV crash. Amite County, Mississippi Amite County deputies announced a man was arrested in connection to an ATV crash that unalived a 10-year-old boy. Investigator Danny Moe with the Amite County Sheriff's Office said the incident occurred on Old 24 Compromise Road between 11:30 a.m. and 11:45 a.m. on April 6, 2025. Compromise Road, what the hell? And notice, I just read all that stuff. All they said, a man was arrested. No, dumbass, we need names and mugshots. But guess what? The disrespect continues. Check this out. Investigators said the suspect, Cody Rollinson, was arrested the day of the incident. He was charged with possession of marijuana in a motor vehicle and felony leaving the scene of an accident. Robinson made his initial appearance in court last week, and his bond was set at $41,000. He is currently out on bond. And guess what? The reason why I couldn't find a mugshot is because they lied. The day of the incident, they didn't even arrest him. And then in the news article or on the news station, these news outlets, they didn't even mention that his driver license was suspended. And this is not the first time he hit someone and left the scene. Make it make sense. And that's why I always say our platforms are so important in doing our own research. And that's what I did. I went to old reliable Facebook, and lo and behold, not only didn't they arrest him when the incident happened, but right after he tried to sell his truck for $6,500, the same truck he murdered Jordan Hill in. The game is cold. And look, that's why I'm always saying never trust these news outlets, especially in the South. They will protect their own. They all on the same team. These articles had no clear images of this dude, and it all was on purpose. Actually, you have to do the research yourself. Actually, you have to connect the dots yourself. But ain't it ironic, ain't it funny how these racist cowards, when shit gets real, they delete their social media accounts like we can't find their house. This dude had Confederate flags leading up into his house. So we already know where it is, partner. Now look at this family. This family will never be the same again. And I know a lot of us don't celebrate Easter like that, but it's still a time for family members to get together. It's still a time for family members to get together, laugh, play games, just be around each other. Jordan Hill will never be able to experience that again. So in my opinion, Cody Rollinson, aka Waterboy, he shouldn't be able to spend Easter with his family either. In my opinion, he should be in jail or make that make sense. According to Mo, investigators are waiting on the results of a toxicology report and additional charges are pending. Several agencies, including the Mississippi Highway Patrol, are assisting with the investigation. But that's why I'm always saying we need more Black content creators for the people. We can no longer depend on these news outlets and these articles. They are the ops. And I'm looking on Facebook and TikTok, and I'm seeing more and more of our people speaking up. More and more now people sharing the information that benefit us. And I love that shit. And the reason these type of Black people don't speak on stories like this because it doesn't fit into their narrative. They need you to believe that Caucasian people are perfect. They can do no wrong. They need you to believe that it's all Black people committing all the violence. I'm saying just go to their YouTube channels. Everything is about a Black person. This Black person, they did this, they did this. But they never call out racist Caucasian people. So never fall for the bait. Never let them project onto you on how they feel about their own people. It's all cap. It's all to bait you in and just make you mad because they want to gaslight you. That's an old tactic. It's 2025. We ain't going for it. We gonna fight for what we fighting for. It is what it is. So to my people, I don't care where you live, the South, East, North, West, share this video on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Share this video because the mainstream media, they're not going to share this video. They're not going to share no content about this story unless it's a local news outlet in Mississippi. And we all know they lie. We all know what side they on. We all know they the ops. So rest in peace to Jordan Hill. And shout out to my people, man. I love when we stand together. I'm out.
A man was arrested after allegedly fatally running over a child, a 10-year-old Black child. Put it up for a mask. This is Mississippi. A man is facing a felony charge in connection with a deadly ATV wreck. An ATV wreck that left a 10-year-old Jordan Hill dead. Cody Rollinson has been charged with possession of marijuana and felony leaving the scene of an accident. He was arrested the same day he allegedly hit and killed Jordan Hill while he was driving his pickup truck The individual has since received a $41,000 bond. That was very surprising. A $41,000 bond. The wreck occurred April 6th. Hill, 10, was on an ATV when witnesses say he was hit by Rollinson's truck. WLBT3 News spoke with the Hill family spokesperson, Marquel Bridges, who told them, quote, Jordan was simply riding his ATV on the side of the road, not in the road, not causing harm, just being a child. A racist white man took it upon himself to take Jordan's life. This was not a misunderstanding. This was not an accident. This was a hate crime. Now, I also want to mention, we have not independently verified the context of that statement, but that statement was said on the local news by someone who said this is what happened. And the local news interviewed that individual, assuming proper vetting. So we have a statement from the spokesperson of the family. Once again, the following allegation could not be independently verified, but this is the statement the spokesperson made on Facebook, writing, quote, nothing less than vehicular homicide, manslaughter, or murder will suffice. A racist white man killed 10-year-old Jordan Hill while he was riding his ATV on the side of the road, not in traffic, not causing harm. Being a child, he was a baby, a child. And yet this killer walked out of jail on $4,000 bail after taking his life. Why hasn't anyone contacted Jordan's family? Why hasn't this man been charged correctly? Where is the justice? He left the scene, hit and run, hate crime, call it what it is. He came back for his mirror. He didn't have the human decency to stay with this baby while he took his last breath. Called 911, nothing. He tried to cover up his crimes, had marijuana in his truck, driving on suspended license. Leaving the scene is not enough. Possession of marijuana is not enough. Say his name, demand accountability. Now, he's saying $4,000 bail because the bond set at $41,000. If you pay through a bonding company, you usually pay between 10% to 15% of that bond. Prior to that, Bridges had posted, quote, this is Cody Rollinson, okay? The guy who ran over and killed, murdered 10-year-old Jordan Hill. The guy that did not stop. The guy that did not leave skid marks on the road to try to stop. Nobody can convince me that he didn't try to murder this 10-year-old black baby on purpose, seeing his house, seeing these Confederate racist flag, and what's really in his heart. He murdered Jordan Hill on purpose. He never stopped, never went to check on him, only went back to get his light for his truck. Never checked on this black baby. He had weed in his truck. He was driving on a suspended license. He should not be free. We're demanding justice. We're demanding transparency and accountability. We're demanding you lock him up. Do something about this before it's in the hands of the people, end quote. All right. Once again, we cannot independently verify that information. However, we can verify that it did come from the spokesperson of the family. They put that on social media. There are many social media posts claiming Hill was killed in a hit and run accident. WLBT has not been able to confirm those claims. WLBT News reached out to the Amite County Sheriff's Office for information, but have not yet received a response. And the reason why the local news cannot independently confirm it is because the police are doing the same thing to them that they are doing, obviously, to the family, not providing any additional information. I have a serious question about why in the hell do you get a $41,000 bond for killing a child and you are at fault, meaning you engaged in some other illegal activity? If any of this is true, if you were driving with a suspended license, if you had felony amount of marijuana in your vehicle while driving. Okay. If these things are true, if any of them are true, you should definitely never have received a $41,000 bond. So I got a question about that myself. We're going to stay on top of this story. In the meantime, and I'll have an update for you next week. In the meantime, we want to support Jordan Hill's family. It's so sad. This young baby had to endure this. And it's so sad this family is having to endure it now. But anything we can do to lighten the load, let's do it. So there's a GoFundMe set up. Support Jordan Hill's grieving family. You can go there. They have a very modest goal. I'm sure we can overcome that modest goal. I hope we raise way more over this weekend than what they're asking for. Let's lighten the load as much as we can. All right.
Say his name. Jordan Hill. 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 Jordan Hill. Jordan Hill.
Weekend.
Mic
Tell
check.
why you here now.
Mic check.
Because you interrupted the house here. You had all week long to come and talk to these families.
Say what you gotta say. We ain't giving you the photo.
Let's go.
Let's say what you gotta say.
We here more.
Only thing I want to tell y'all, which is the same thing I told these folks now. There's nothing that I can do. There's nothing that I can do at this time for the child to pray for this family. And I have been.
All right. Peace and blessings, all praises to the Most High. The scripture says that which you have done to the least of these, you have also done to me. And in the case of 10-year-old Jordan Hill, the Ammit County, however it's pronounced, Sheriff Department and Police Department have done this young man wrong. Now, if you haven't heard the story, on April the 6th, 10-year-old Jordan Hill, as you see on the screen, was riding an ATV down the street of that same street that we were on in the video. And this suspected racist white supremacist, Cody Rollinson, came barreling down the street in his truck and struck young Jordan, basically taking his life instantly. And you're going to hear that sheriff talk about how gruesome the scene was. And I'm going to play the entire video. And what has us outraged is Cody Rollinson was found to be in possession of substances that could impair his ability to operate a motor vehicle. He never stopped to render aid, didn't even call 911, only turned around to pick up a mirror that broken off his truck. And later the police did, go arrest him, but the only thing they arrested him for was leaving the scene of an accident and also possession of that illegal substance. And so while we were down there in Liberty, Mississippi, to advocate for our dear brother Tremaine White, who was also unalived by some racist white supremacist sheriff department, and you're going to hear more about that story in the coming days. A family member of Jordan Hill came up to us, and they wanted to talk to us about his demise, which happened the Sunday, if I'm not mistaken, or the Thursday before we got there. I think it was the Sunday before we got there. about 4 days before we got there. And once again, this story has no national news. And so they came, and while we were leaving out, we happened upon them setting up the memorial and memorializing young Jordan. But in the midst of us hugging on the mother, loving on the family, loving on the aunties, giving them support, this same sheriff that we had approached earlier about Tremaine White, and you'll see that video as well, came in the midst of us loving on this family. And he's going to try to justify and white-splain why this man is not arrested. Just listen to this video.
We got the power. We got the power. No peace. No justice. No peace. No peace. No peace. No peace. No peace. Jordan Hill. 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 Living in Mississippi, that was supposed to be the sheriff. I didn't know about it. They're supposed to be treated. 9, 10, 11, 12. 9, 10, 11, 12. 9, 10, 11, 12. What's going on? What's going on?
It's disrespectful for you to be here. Go arrest them on their business.
No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace.
No peace. I'm a street.
It's a baby. It's a baby. It's a baby. It's a baby. Who's out? Who's out? We're the baby. Y'all gonna hear the baby. Y'all gonna hear the baby. Cowards.
Go ahead and tell us what he want to say to me. Say it to
I won't say it to everybody.
Yo,
No justice. No peace. You got to stay. Everybody's listening.
Okay,
go ahead.
I worked the direct time. Okay. I was the first one here on scene. I was the very first one.
Where's the mother and dad so they can get in?
I thought, hold on.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
Whose streets?
Our street.
Whose streets?
Our street.
Whose streets?
Our street.
Whose streets?
Our street.
Say his name. Say his name. Say his name.
He wanted to tell us something. He said he worked.
Hold on, fix the seats. Hold on, give him the picture. Give him the picture, baby. Let him look at the baby while he's talking.
Yeah, I want y'all to hear what I got to say. Okay. Just like I told y'all Sunday. I called y'all.
Yes.
Sunday, I got to tell y'all.
Yes.
I worked this wreck Sunday.
Yes.
I got chills on me from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet and my legs. Because I was the first one here and I saw that baby laying in that road. And I saw that there was nothing that I could do. After 25 years of being a police and an EMT and a firefighter, it don't get no easier to see these babies laid right here in this road, regardless of what.
But it's something you can do
There's
now.
nothing that I could do under the sun to save this baby. The Lord had taken him home by the time I got here.
Oh, yeah. It's something you can
Tell
do
him why you
now.
did now. Tell him why you did now.
Now it's the next step. Time for justice.
They come before.
Mic check.
They come before. You came when we came.
Mic
Tell him
check.
why you here now.
Mic check.
Because you interrupted our affair. You had all week long to come and talk to these families.
Say what you got to say. We ain't giving you photos.
Let's go.
Say what you got to say.
We in mom.
Only thing I want to tell y'all, which is the same thing I told these folks now, there's nothing that I can do. There's nothing that I can do at this time for the child to separate this family. And I have been.
We don't want your family to
No justice.
No peace.
That's what we're trying to get to. Go ahead. But that's what we're trying to get to. We understand you couldn't bring. We know you.
We know you sorry.
We know you sorry. I want to get you charged.
He's sorry. All right. And so far, he's sorry for being powerful. Right. Now let's get to the real meat of the subject.
The investigation has led that we took the guy in custody Sunday.
You let him out with.
I ain't let him out no time. I ain't no charge of that.
So he's not in jail?
No.
He's not in jail.
No, he out.
That's what I'm trying to get, y'all. That's the question I was asking. So what did you charge him with? I wasn't the arresting officer. Okay.
But it's your scene. But it's your scene.
But I was first one here.
It's your scene.
So I didn't leave this scene. So did you see a vehicular homicide? Let me explain. Okay,
so you gave them up and back. You gave them up and back. He's driving anyway. Free. After he led the scene, he's a flight risk. After he led the scene, he's a flight risk.
Who the one that's been charged with leaving the scene? Danny Moe is signed the charge. That's the one who killed Jermaine.
Danny Moe.
I took him and had his blood drawn, and when the results come back, he was on it. I got to put the crime there.
What about vehicle homicide, sir? Why was he not charged with homicide? Vehicle.
Because you white. Because you white.
Right.
Because you white. Because you white. No justice, no peace.
Let me ask you this, because you have charged with homicide because you was a reporter. You're the officer that came to the scene. I didn't do the report. Danny Moe did the report.
Danny Moe.
Yeah. So what I was charged with, I don't know that it's going to be frustrating. He said he was charged with more than what I was told. I just, all I can tell you is what I was told. I can't tell you know, he's charged with manslaughter. To my knowledge, he is. And I do know that they are running certain orders over. So they run search warrants on the property. Everything involved him, they run search warrants. My brother got I don't know. We not that ain't what I'm just saying. That's what you're saying. He said if he got no manslaughter, because his blood $2,000 bond. He paid $200.
He left the scene.
Every time he ride around in this mama, his cousin, his daddy, got to see that. And if we go gun him down, y'all ain't gonna have no trouble.
No justice! No justice!
Or we gonna go. I'm telling you what's gonna happen.
I'm shooting the damn trucker.
All right, you'll see. Listen,
be proactive, not reactive.
He made bond on. He didn't make bond on manslaughter. He made bond on leaving the scene. I don't have no idea, sir. I wasn't involved.
Can you let these families breathe down? Get your police card.
Amen, my brother. Amen. Ain't nobody.
Get his family breathe down.
We holding a memorial here.
My Lord Jesus, my God.
I don't have no idea about what happened.
The rest of the race. The race soldiers.
All right, so there you saw the scene where this sheriff, whom we've already seen before, come up on the scene while we are, trying to comfort and give support to the family of the 10-year-old who was mowed down in the streets, and these sheriff have not arrested the individual responsible for that. And he came up, trying to do the whole sympathy thing and, to kind of tug on the mother's emotions. I didn't even like the fact that he hugged the mother, because if he felt for that mother, he would arrest the Ryan Callinsworth guy. And, he tries to invoke sympathy. I had chills when I seen that baby, and, there was nothing that I could do. And then I'll bring the Lord in, because he know black people love the Lord. So, the Lord had taken that baby home, and there's nothing that I can do. And, bro, there's something you can do, as my brother said, in response. There's something you can do right now. You can arrest the person who did this, which they have still failed to do as of today, April the 15th, 2025, in the year of our Lord. And, the lady, he told me, well, there's nothing I can do but, offer some prayers to the family. Shout out to my sister. She said, we don't want your devilish prayers. No, because that's what I'm saying. Faith without works is dead. There's a scripture that says that. Faith without works is dead. And, he wasn't, the guy transferred. Well, we took him into custody, and you let him out the same day, and he was released. He was not charged. He was only charged with leaving the scene of an accident. Now, he says that they drew his blood, and, they're waiting for the results to come. And so he's going to be charged with aggravated DWI or whatever. What, once again, as the lady said, what is wrong with charging him with vehicular manslaughter? And then, he tries to pass the buck, as the people said, well, y'all let him out. Well, I didn't let him out. Y'all gave him back his truck. I didn't give him back his truck. We know you didn't personally, but your agency, the people you work for, what you represent, has given this man a free pass to walk around. And, after he had done something of this magnitude. Now, also, they mentioned Danny Moe. That's what, Danny Moe. Danny Moe is the officer who was involved in the Tremaine White unalivement. We've heard his name. That's all they, talk about is Danny Moe. Everybody said, well, Danny Moe this, Danny Moe that. You have to talk to Danny Moe. So evidently he's the lead investigator, probably like a Mike Cox down here in Goldsboro, who was real corrupt. And so shout out to my brother once again, Markel Bridges, because Markel Bridges was like, yo, because, we can go get him if we want to. We can go get him because he lived right down the street. We actually, rode past his house, and Markel made a great point. If we go and gun him down, then y'all don't want to have not a problem arresting us. So basically, y'all should go get him, and actually my brother said he wanted to go down there, but I don't think nobody, the elders, that I guess talked them out of it, because, I didn't want to go to jail down in Mississippi. I didn't, but yeah, man, just shout out to all of those families who were in Mississippi to their own particular cases. Stop what we were doing and help that family who we knew nothing about. That family saw us walking down the street. They saw the brothers with the bearing arms. They saw the sisters with the signs. They saw us walking up to the courthouse, walking up to the police department, walking up to the sheriff department. And they was like, who are these people? Yes, come. They actually said a brother joined the new Black Panther Party when they saw them walk. Like, he literally paid his dues and got a shirt that day. And he was at the conference in Jackson the next day. So that's the power when you see people ready to stand for something and stand up and speak truth to power. Like you said, like, what are you here for? What are you like, You're disturbing us now. Go do your job. Go get the person, who took this young man's life. And to my knowledge, once again, it hasn't been done yet. So we're going to keep an eye on this story. Once again, there's a lot more footage about this trip to Mississippi, where once again we walked up to the doorsteps of these people, like the city. We literally shut the whole Liberty down, like the town hall, the city hall, the police. Everybody was hiding, and just like that newscaster said in the last video, we reached out to the sheriff, but they keep saying he's unavailable. He's always unavailable. He's never not unavailable, if that makes sense. So if those charges are not upgraded, like my brother Dr. Kofi said, pretty sure we can be right back down there and letting our presence be felt. But shout out to, once again, our young brother, Mr. Jordan Hill, and his family, his mother, his loved ones, his sisters, brothers, aunties, cousins. Everybody was out. Everybody, has been affected by his demise, but also the fact that these people are not charging the individual responsible for his demise. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. 91958.
Revolutionary cut their hair, but someone showing obvious white. Revolutionary salute to our brother Andre Tony for the donation to the war chest. Revolution is a way of life. Appreciate the love, family. Salute. Family and fellow soldiers, I'm the professor, and this is the moment of truth. All right, hands up. Who was stupid enough not to see this one coming? This morning's briefing is a follow-up to the Friday crime report. The white media is reporting that Phoenix Ickner, the gunman who murdered 2 people and wounded half a dozen others in an attack at Florida State University, had what the white media calls troubling fascination with Adolf Hitler and Nazi Germany. Troubling fascination, they say, as opposed to a healthy fascination, I suppose. Not surprisingly, this guy is also a so-called gamer, and we can see what he used his online time to push. He had a picture on one of his online gaming accounts where he used a drawing of Adolf Hitler with the word 9 in a thought bubble. For the screen name that he used on another account, he used the name Schutzstaffel, which was the name of Hitler's SS thugs. These video game networks and websites, they act as places for these racists to hang out and to act out the racist hate speech they love so much and not be punished for it. And as we all know, hate speech leads to hate crimes. But the video game companies don't mind because 99% of the time, they spout anti-black rhetoric, and everyone knows the people who run these video game companies are as racist as their so-called gamer fans are, the Phoenix Ickners of the world. Of course, when you look at his internet searches, you see that this guy also had a troubling fascination with the Confederate flag and scientific racism, too. Another account that Ickner used had the symbol for Patriot Front. That's the white extremist group who previously called themselves Vanguard America. Back then, one of their members drove his car into a crowd of people in Charlottesville, killing Heather Heyer in the process. These days, Patriot Front runs around in rider vans doing flash mob antics, but a number of these criminals also join law enforcement. Ickner was aspiring to be one of them, but he couldn't contain his racial privilege long enough. Ordinarily, I'd say I told you so, but this is so normal, so routine. We all knew it well before the white media finally decided to admit to it. In addition to being a mass shooter and a double murderer, Phoenix Ickner was also a white supremacist too. Seems every one of these mass murderers, from the Columbine killers to Nicholas Cruz, has all kinds of anti-black ideology that they love to spout. USA Today, the rag of record, actually gave some passing mention to this fact, even though this is the most consistent trait that these mass murderers have in common. Psychopathic anti-black racism. All the things that we in the black media have reported and chronicled for you, the white media is only just now being embarrassed into admitting to it. As I've always told you, if you're not following the black media, you'll always be the last to know. But his video game profiles and his internet searches, that's what he was doing when he was online. Did his classmates at FSU know about his anti-black white supremacist leanings? Of course they did. They knew that he was expressing all of this stuff and they were calling him out on it. His classmates have talked about how he openly touted right-wing conspiracy theories and hateful ideas. Among them was his assertion that Rosa Parks was in the wrong and black people were ruining his neighborhood. One classmate said that Ickner had been part of a political roundtable club. Quote, basically our only rule was no Nazis, colloquially speaking, and he espoused so much white supremacist rhetoric and far-right rhetoric as well to the point where we had to exercise that rule. Another classmate said, I got into arguments with him in class over how gross the things he said were. I remember thinking this man should not have access to firearms. But what are you supposed to do? Yeah, everyone already knew that there's laws in place that are supposed to stop people like this, but the people who are supposed to enforce these laws won't. These race soldiers are being deliberately protected by these schools and by the state. This is what moron DeSantis and the rest of the white right think of as a well-regulated militia. The reason they don't want these racist murderers to be disarmed is because they don't want any of these race soldiers, in uniform or without, to think that the state's going to restrict their violence. They've written laws openly meant to encourage exactly this kind of savagery because the white right is waging a race war and the white left is letting them. We've seen this pattern enough times where it's undeniable. These are the warning signs. The problem isn't that the warning signs were missed. It's that the people who are giving off the warning signs are the wrong color. We've seen this from Columbine to Ethan Crumbley to Nicholas Cruz. Everyone knows these mass shooters when they see them at this point. The problem is they also know the administrators of these schools aren't going to do anything about them because their top priority is maintaining white primacy. And that means whenever these burgeoning psychopaths are getting ready to cross the line, nothing can be done to stop them. Nothing can be allowed to stop them. If a black student wears dreadlocks or their teachers or what have you say that they don't like their hairstyle, then they will forcibly cut their hair. But someone showing obvious white supremacist ideology that you know routinely precedes mass murders, and there's just nothing they can do. As soon as he began spouting that anti-black crap, he should have been kicked out of the university, not just out of a political discussions club. You got the white left and the white right who are so hot and bothered to make sure that anything that even remotely smells of anti-Semitism results in people getting kicked out of school immediately. There's no violence required and no history of violence, but it's just a matter of we got to make sure you don't say the wrong thing. Meanwhile, you got all of these school shooters who overwhelmingly have anti-black racism in common, and well, we're not kicking anybody out of school just because they say something. Even whenever they threaten people on campus or perform some act of violence, well, unless they actually pull a pistol and start gunning people down, we can't actually kick them out of school, don't you know? So the people who are actually responsible for the actual on-campus violence, you're not going to do anything about that. But somebody who says something that certain people don't like, that's all it takes. That's how you know they're protecting them. You have people who are also doing what the white media has conditioned them to do, to pretend as if these murders are some sort of anomaly or some kind of wild deviation from the norm, when in reality, they are completely normal for this society. The problem isn't that this murderer was exposed to extremism. It's that this society has made white supremacist extremism normal and always has. What's not normal is punishing these people. What's not normal is conditioning society that when these people rear their heads, they'll be expelled, fired, punished. This is why he wanted to be in law enforcement. White supremacists know that they can harm people, especially black people, violate their rights, put bogus criminal cases on innocent people, murder unarmed citizens in the streets, and not be punished for it. When these guys look at the police, they see an obvious and ready outlet for their anti-black violence, and they're right. And this stuff is also taught in the home. Are we supposed to believe that his mother didn't know what he was into? Are we supposed to believe that the apple fell far from the tree? You combine the deliberate legal immunity that the thugs in blue receive with ready, no-problem access to guns and a socially permissive environment where certain classes of people are never told they're wrong, never told no, and never punished for their behavior, and this is what you get. As we told you and keep telling you, these mass murderers are not so much a gun problem as they are a white supremacist problem. The reason that no school massacre is enough for this country to even consider limiting access to guns for certain people is because that's how white supremacy entrenched itself, through open, unpunished violence. And that's how it intends to maintain its position in the world, having armed racial zealots willing to kill any and everyone, including other white people. That's precisely what the dominant society wants. For the dominant society, they've already reduced it to nothing more than a math equation. 330 million people in the United States, with tens of millions of them going to universities and schools every single day. and only 2 got killed today and 6 wounded, far as the dominant society is concerned, that's not even a drop in the bucket, much less a drop in the ocean. The same way that those young people at these schools and universities have been conditioned to understand that nothing's going to be done, so the rest of the society has also been conditioned to understand nothing's going to be done, because they want it this way. Groups like Patriot Front should be on a terrorist watch list. They should actually be pursued actively as terrorists because that's what they are. But they're not. Even Democrats didn't dare pursue them as terrorists. They don't even dare say that they're going to designate them as terrorists. So what's going to happen is the bodies are going to continue to hit the floor. As we speak, the next school shooter is no doubt practicing their anti-black memes in whatever video game chat rooms they're in. And they're also telling themselves that when they get to school, they're going to try to make sure that they kill some black people first. The white media will be telling everyone there's nothing to see here and let's go ahead and change the subject. The school administrators will swear that there's no way that they could predict who's going to do these kind of things. And even if they could, well, there's nothing they can do. And the race soldiers and law enforcement will be giving a wink and a nod to this violence. Because the reality is the Phoenix Ickners aren't the only ones with blood on their hands. Good day and be one.
Coffee. Follow me.